I had a hernia in...
Where's this hospital?
Shanghai.
Hernia
What
hospital.
happened? Yeah, sorry.
So I go there, and then they're like, yeah, you got a hernia. We'll book you in for the hospital. We don't know when. We'll just give you a call.
This is your second hernia in
It's
your
my
life.
second. Yeah. I was 23 or something at the time. 24 maybe.
So this is two factors: that you were playing drums and carrying drums around a lot, and that you're, as you
Inherent
mentioned
weakness.
a few weeks ago, you're weak.
Yeah, I'm just horribly weak. My grandpa had heaps. He had to wear belts all around his body and shit.
Pussy.
Yeah. He did it all for... Oh, that's nookie. So then...
For the snooky.
So I go in there, and for the examination, I pull down my pants, and then the door gets kicked in. It's this Chinese family, like, trying to bribe the doctor, and he's like, get the fuck out. So he puts me behind this curtain, right, and I had to get the insurer to come with me because I didn't have the money to pay up front, because there was like 30,000 RMB or something.
What's that translate to?
Yeah,
Maybe
what's
like
that roughly?
$6,000. But it was free. It was all under my health insurance. They said, you pay, we'll pay you back. And I was like, there's no way I'm trusting a fucking Chinese insurer. And so they sent a lady with a credit card there, and I was like, oh, do you work for the company? She's like, no, I just have a credit card, and they hire me out, and then they pay me back on my credit card. That's my job. Anyway,
with interest or
That
something.
rules.
Yeah,
I want that job.
That's a cool job.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm behind the curtain getting examined by the doctor, and she keeps poking her head around to try and see my dick. And I was like, I can see what you're doing. She's like, no, I'm not. And I was like, I can see what you're doing.
Is this the insurer lady?
Yeah, and then she comes around the other side of the curtain and is trying to look at my ass. And I was like, I fucking get out of here. So I had to lock her out of the room, and I made the doctor lock the door so she couldn't come back in. Anyway, then one Monday morning, I get a call. It's like, hey, your operation's in 2 hours. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you got to be here soon. It's 5 days in the hospital. Bring your stuff. So then I go. I was like, fuck. And I just like get a... What do I get? I get a DVD player.
That's like the phones on the plane thing. It's just it's a myth.
Yeah. It was crazy though. And so then I sprint there. I'm like on the phone
get a
to
DVD
my wife, like,
player.
hey, I'm going into hospital for 5 days. And she's like, fuck, my dad needs to come down to look after you. And I was like, why? There's nurses. She goes, no, you don't understand. Someone will need to be with you. And I was like, no, there's nurses. And she's like, you just don't understand. Later, I did understand. So anyway, I go there, and they're like, all right, so your operation's on Wednesday. And I was like, what am I doing? They're like, well, you're in this room until Wednesday. I'm like, can I leave that? No, you can't leave the hospital. I was like, what the fuck? What am I going to do for 2 days? They're like, I don't know. You just got to sit in your room. And so I had a private room because I was in the VIP ward at Zhongshan Hospital. So fuck that hospital. Anyway, so then the nurse comes in.
They can
she's
sponsor
like,
us if they feel like it, though.
She gives me a razor, and she's like, hey, you got to
Cut
shave.
your wrists.
You got to shave your beard. And I was like, why? And she's like, oh, the surgeon asked. I'm like, well, I think I've got an appointment with the surgeon at 2, so maybe I'll just ask him then. She's like, yeah, definitely, but he'll love it if you've already shaved it. Like, it means you've taken this operation seriously. So just shave your face. I'm like, I'm not shaving the fucking face. Why would I shave the face? And she's like, the surgeon said you have to. And so anyway, the surgeon comes in, and I said, why do I have to shave my face? He's like, I never said that. And I was like, what the fuck? So anyway, then they go, all right, you got to do some tests now. But it was me and like 8 90-year-olds. So they make them walk up the stairs. I was on the 8th floor, up the stairs to the 10th floor to sign in, then down to the 9th floor to get their blood test, then back up to the 10th floor to get their brain scan. So I had to sit there, and I was like running up the stairs, and they took like 30 minutes to get up the stairs. It was fucked. It was such a long morning or afternoon just waiting.
And you had a hernia at the stage also.
Yeah, but I could still walk.
It didn't matter.
I was fine.
Yeah.
I do my test. I'm fine. I go back down. I'm just sitting in the bedroom, just hanging out in the what's it called, the room, waiting. And then I'm like, oh fuck. So I ordered food, and then they never brought me the food. They said you never ordered the food.
So what day is this? Day
This
one?
is Monday. This is Monday.
So this is day one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so I go to sleep, and about 4 a.m. this nurse wakes me up and she's like, hey, you got to shit in a cup. And I was like, now? And she's like, no, anytime in the next 2 days. And I was like, then don't wake me up at fucking 4 a.m. Like, that's the dumbest thing. Anyway, so I go back to sleep, and at 6 a.m. I'm like, ow. She shoved a fucking syringe in my arm to take blood, and she's like, I didn't want to wake you. And I was like, you fucking woke me up to tell me I need to shit in a cup in 2 days. You jabbed me, and she's taking my blood without me noticing. She got a syringe in there without me noticing. It wasn't until she started sucking the blood out. I was tied off and everything. How fuck's that? And then that was the first one. And then so I shit,
Western
and I got the cup,
blood.
and you put it in the cup. And I was like, hey, where'd I put my shit? And she's like, I'll just leave it on the counter. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, just leave it on our receptionist desk. I'm like, a cup of shit, okay. So I put it there. I walk past later, 2 hours later. It's still there. And I was like, fucking hell. It's got my name clearly on it and my room and everything. It's fucked. Then the person next door, their grandpa dies.
Did you have a room to yourself?
Yeah, but I could next door. Yeah, that was the only perk.
Yeah.
And then next door, and I'm still fine. These 2 days, I'm totally fine. And then the grandpa dies next door, and the family over his dead body start having a fight about who gets his iPad. And the nurse had to chime in. The nurse had to chime in and be like, yeah, it was like, why do you think you should have the iPad? And why do you think you should have the iPad? And I was like, fucking hell. Anyway, so the night comes, and Kenji's dad comes down, and I was like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, the nurses don't do anything except take your temperature. They don't do anything here. And it was true. That's all they did. They took your temperature and took your blood. And I was like, well, what can I do? You know, if I'm really sore, I need to be rolled over or anything. And he's like, oh, there's a woman over there for 200 RMB, which is fucking not even, maybe $20 a day. She'll clean you and all that kind of stuff. But she was like from the fucking rural farm buttfuck area of China, had never brushed her teeth, her fucking skin was just caked with dirt. And I was like, she's not coming anywhere fucking near me. Anyway, so I still hadn't eaten. They still refused to give me food for some reason. So I was fucking getting really hungry, so I had to send Kenji's dad out to get me food and shit. Then that night they come in and they're like, alright, so tomorrow's your operation. If you have any valuables, lock them in this cupboard. Except if they're really valuable, don't lock them in this cupboard because the nurses have keys and they steal stuff.
At any point did you think, I'm going to go back to Australia and do this surgery and then come back to China?
No, because I had the surgery before and I was fine. Like after a week I was okay, you know.
In Australia, the first time you had it?
Yeah, and I was out straight away. I didn't realise I'd be in the hospital for 5 days. So then they go, okay, don't lock any valuables really in there because the nurses have keys. I'm like, well, just fire them or change the locks. Like, yeah, we have, but they just keep getting new locks anyway. So maybe get a family member to watch this cupboard while you're in the operation. The next morning I go for the operation and they give you these pants, right? And they're just like big, huge, stripy pants and they've got like...
Clown pants sort of thing.
But there's a slit where your dick is.
Yeah.
So like no matter which way you tie it up, your dick's hanging out. You know,
cool.
My big fat dick's hanging out. It's crazy. And then the whole time the nurse is like, "Your Chinese is really good." Because the whole time I'm doing it in Chinese, like, "Your Chinese is really good. Yours is better than our doctor, our general doctor." And I was like, "Oh, that's a funny joke. Yeah, that's a nice compliment." It was fucking true. The guy comes in and he can't speak Mandarin. He has a translator, but Mandarin's the official language of China.
Does he speak like Cantonese?
No, he speaks his other little hometown dialect. Like he speaks Bendigonese. You know, he speaks his little town dialect. But to go to primary school, junior school, high school, university, you only speak Mandarin. So then I go in and they wheel me in. They're all looking at my dick and stuff, and then they put they put the fucking anesthesia in my arm.
Sweet.
And then they put the mask on my face.
Nice.
And then they go, "You're now in Slipknot." And I was like, yeah! As they put the mask on, I start getting a tiny bit sleepy. I'm just like, oh. The surgeon comes in and goes, "So what are we doing here?" And I was like, rip the mask off. I'm like, hernia! Fucking, you should know this. Like, you should know all this. He's like, just relax, sleep. And so they put the mask back on. He's like, which side is it on? And I was like, it's here. You should know this, man. You should know. He's like, yeah, well, we'll find it anyway. And that's the last thing I remember. And then I go to sleep and I wake up and they wake you up to check if you're okay. You know, and they're like, hey, wake up. What day is today? I'm like, why is there a fucking tube in my dick? And I got so angry that they didn't tell me I was going to have a catheter. And I was like, I looked down and my dick's just hanging out and it's a bit red. They must have gobbed me off. And like they shoved a tube down there. And then I was like, I got so angry they had to like push me back on the bed and like put the mask back on. I was like, this is fucked. Like I was lifting my head up going, this is insane. What the fuck? And I wake back up and Kenji and her dad's in the room and I wake up and I was like, why the fuck is there a tube in my dick? No one told me. No one fucking told me this was going to be a thing.
Who got me off?
You still get stiffies when you have a tube in your dick. And the worst thing is that the lead is so short.
Like when
you roll over in your sleep and you get like a morning wood, it opens your dick up because it's like the lead's so long, you know, and stapled to the bed.
So like if like you were fishing
it's
and
like
you had like a big fish, it was like bending and fishing rod and it's
but the eye of your penis is kind of open. It's after a few hours, like the surgeon comes in, he's like, the doctor comes in and goes, let me look at the surgeon's work. He puts his fucking stethoscope on my wound. He drops his stethoscope onto my wound. And I was like, ah! And he's like, well, that's good. You've got some feeling. And I was like, I'm bleeding now. Like, this is fucked. And I said, I need my pain meds aren't working. And they're like, yeah, they're coming. For a fucking day, they didn't give me any pain meds. They gave me like that tube that goes into your nose that you can breathe.
That's just oxygen, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all they gave me. That's all they gave me.
They just let you breathe.
And I turned that off. I'm like,
but that's a real treat. No, pure oxygen is a real treat in China.
Yeah, side note, you fucking people in Australia appreciate the blue sky. I just look at it. That's why I have so many car crashes now. I just looking at it all day. It's
How
so
many car
nice.
crashes have you had?
I had a really close one today. That happened, and I said, you know what? Fuck you. Where'd you? I said who'd you get your white coat from? Did you steal it from a butcher? You're not a fucking doctor. Get the fuck out. And he laughed. I was like, no, get the fuck out. And I threw my pillow at him. And I said, get the fuck out of here. And I was like breaking down. I was like, get the fuck out. And he just kept saying, blah, blah, blah. I was like, get the fuck out. Fuck off. Fuck off. So the nurse had to push him out. And then he was only allowed at the door. He wasn't allowed to come in. So he had to spring nurses, and I was just like this fucking volatile animal, like fuck off every time I saw him. He comes back in the story though, don't worry. And then so the next day I'm just in bed, and I'm in awful pain, and the whole time I'm saying to Kenji's dad, they're lying to me. They're not giving me food. They're not giving me pain meds. And he's like, what do you mean? Like I don't quite understand. He's like, I'll check with him, and they keep saying no. He said he didn't want pain meds. He said he didn't want food. It's his Chinese is so bad. And I was before my Chinese is good, now it's bad. And Kenji's dad didn't know who to believe. He's like, maybe there's some communication error. So no, I finally go, I fucking need meds right now. And because I was in so much pain. And they put the drip in my arm, in my hand, and they go, okay, this is to turn it on. They turn the switch, and they go, this is to turn it off. And they didn't touch it, they just said. Anyway, after a few hours, I'm like, this bag hasn't emptied at all. And Kenji's dad's like, yeah, you're right. And so he calls them back, and they're like, oh, you're so silly, you turned it off. And Kenji's dad was like, no, he didn't even touch it. You said this was on. And they're like, no, that's off, silly. He's like, this guy was right. You've been lying. Yeah, you've been lying the whole time. He's fucking right. You have been. And they go, okay, listen, if we can use this medicine again, we'll give you 300 RMB. And I was like,
What do you mean?
They'll give me $50.
Wait.
They're saving it. They're saving it. They don't have that much.
Oh, right.
So, and I'm like,
they lied to you.
Yeah.
They lied to you, so they didn't have to.
Yeah, and I said, I will give you 3,000. 3,000. Yeah, $500
to take this tube out of my dick.
To fucking just get the fuck out right now. Just fuck off. And then I'm so sorry. Please don't tell anyone about this. We're sorry.
This is in Shanghai, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His dad.
So it's not like some buttfuck city.
No. This is in the main city center as well. So he has to clean my piss bag out. He has to clean out because the nurses won't do it. The nurses don't do anything. They don't do fucking anything. And I told one of the nurses, I'm like, a 6-year-old could, and it's like the electronic thermometer.
Yeah.
And I was like, a 6-year-old could do that. That's really easy to do. You don't have a fucking job. Fuck off. Anyway, so then her dad got a bit of my piss on his hands, but he was wringing it out and in the sink, and he got piss on his hands, so he took off his wedding ring, put it on the sink, right? And then he came back and put the bag in, and in that time, then he went back to wash his hands or whatever. In that time, a nurse had come in, stolen his wedding ring from the sink, and put it in their pocket and just run out. I don't even know. They came in. I didn't see them. I saw the door open and close. They must have heard it, or I think it was just a chance. We'll see if he's all right. Fuck a ring, grab it, and it was. And he was like, "What the fuck? They stole my ring!" And they were trying to say, "Oh, it fell down the sinkhole." He's like, "The sinkholes are tiny. There's no way my ring fell down there." Then one day they said, "I'm like, I need to get out of here. I need to get the fuck out of here." And they were like, "You can't go." And this whole time I had the tube in the dick. They were like, "You can't go until you shit." And I was like, "Right, Kenji's dad, put me on the fucking toilet. Just put me on that toilet." And Kenji was at work, yeah? So then he carries me up, but the catheter tube is so short, right, that he has to put it on his shoulder, but put me right up. And so my dick is kind of...
in his face?
Right at his face, because there's no way to hide it, because... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my pants are falling down. I'm not wearing underwear. I couldn't wear underwear or anything. Horribly embarrassing, And he sits me on the toilet, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't.
Was it a Westie toilet or a
Westie toilet? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I couldn't breathe well enough. I just had no power. And so after about I'd just been sitting there for 30 minutes just sweating because it's the first time I'd sat up, right, in 2.5 days or whatever. Because
those pain meds back you up. Hey?
Yeah.
So you kind of.
Said,
but you weren't even getting any of the pain meds, were you?
I wasn't the second last day. Right. So I was just trying to, and I couldn't answer him to say I'm okay. So he had to come in, and then he had to lift me off the toilet. And it's just awful. And on the last day, we were watching. I had a DVD player, so I was just watching Game of Thrones, and there was a wedding scene, not the red wedding. He's like, "Is that what weddings are like in the West?" He's like, "Have you ever thought about you and Kenji getting married?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck, you've earned this. You fucking totally earned this."
I was just gonna ask you. But how does ruining his daughter's life pay back? Because I put off that wedding talk for so long.
Your husband comes to our country, he screams at all our people.
Yeah, but
I love him.
And we went through it all, and we talked about weddings and stuff, and he was quite good. And then I had one more day there, and then the next. I'm like, we're just going to lie. Just say I shit. Just say I did. He's like, okay, cool. Let's do this. And so I'm like, he calls the nurse and I'm like, oh, he shit. We can
Was
go
your cup
now.
of shit still sitting on the...
Probably, yeah. Flies buzzing around it. they go, okay, you can leave.
Catatonic after this.
You can leave now. And they go, but we've got to remove your catheter. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And the lady starts putting on lube on my dick. And I spoke to a nurse the other day, and he was like, there's no need to put lube on the outside of your dick. And then so they put lube on my dick, and I was like, this feels real nice, especially after 5 days in this fucking hospital. And I was like, oh, are you going to take it out to this nurse? And she's like, no, there's only one person on this floor who can take it out. Fucking as she said it,
God.
smug piece of shit floor doctor comes in, who in his white shitty stained coat, couldn't speak any Mandarin, comes in. He was so happy.
Could he say yoink at least?
He looked at me. He didn't even look down. He puts his hands like, he spread his thumb and his finger and put my dick between them, but not, didn't touch them, and held my stomach down, and then just ripped it out. Like, just went, whoom, and then just dropped it and walked out. And I was like, holy fuck, that's the best payback ever. But I fucking made a noise like no other. I was just like, and I spoke to a nurse the other night and I told him that story, and he's like, there's a balloon at the bottom you're meant to like deflate because it weighs it down so it doesn't like go up.
Right.
Did he deflate that? I'm like, I guarantee he didn't. He just walked in and went straight away. He's like, that must have fucking been brutal. It was awful. And the worst thing about catheters, afterwards, you get phantom tube in your dick. It still feels like there's a tube in there. So anyway, we go to leave, and I'm like, fuck you guys, I'm out. Fuck all you, fuck you. And I'm like, get me a wheelchair, I'm out of here. And they're like, we don't have wheelchairs here, you got to walk out. And I was like, I can't walk. I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. I was so bad. And I was like, I still don't have feeling there. Anyway, they're like, yeah, you can't walk. I'm like, what the fuck can I do? And they were like, there's a place you can rent a wheelchair down on outside down the street across from the hospital. So Kenji's dad's like, he's carried me to the lift, and he's like, oh, well, I'll take you back to your room.
Don't put me back in there.
They've already changed in my room. Like, I couldn't go back in there. Like, this isn't your room anymore. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I don't know what to do. So he has to kind of leave me lying down near the elevator. And they're just kind of looking at me like, fucking asshole, foreigner asshole. They're like, this is VIP. They even said, this is VIP ward, you don't appreciate it. And I said, 30,000 RMB, I could fly back to Australia 5 times in a month and have 5 operations and still be fucking better than this. Fuck you guys. It was a real weird, tense situation. And then he comes back with a wheelchair, and they get me out of there, and I was like, fucking so happy. I was like, so good.
And I remember this. Shut up. You were telling me that after the operation, you told me that you and your wife, it wasn't wife at the time, but you and your partner moved house while you were recovering. Yeah. And you said that you were just like lying in bed, and obviously the movers didn't know that you had this like god awful operation.
I wasn't lying. I was sitting on a couch.
Yeah, and you're just like, put that there. Put that there.
Yeah.
It's like foreigner cunt.
Yeah. They and then I had another job where I had to watch the removal truck people in case they stole our stuff. And so like I went, pick up that box. And I was saying it to Kenji, like, yeah, you just pick up that box and blah blah. And they're like, why is this guy not even fucking lifting a finger? And then they go downstairs, and then Kenji kind of like, I hobble down and I sit in the elevator, and I sit outside at the back of the truck. And now I'm just like, they're like, why are you just sitting here? I'm like, they told me you're going to steal stuff. And they got so offended, and I was like, I know you're probably going to try and steal stuff, so I've got to watch you. And they're like, this guy's an arsehole. He demands everything from everyone. Then he just watches us. It was a fucking nightmare. And I got flu in the hospital, and I coughed so much that like my stitches were coming out. It was just awful. It was fucked. And then our landlord came, and he was such a nice guy, but that cunt had never brushed his teeth. And once he came to our house, here he is. Speaking of which, he came to our house once, and I wasn't there. He left. Half an hour later, I came home, and I was like, he was here, wasn't he? I could still smell his breath in the room. It was God. He had 3 brown teeth. I think they moved location each time, And he was right in my face going, you're right. You look weak. Got to eat some ham. And I was like, fuck, stop breathing on me. But I couldn't move any direction, so I just had to like take it. And I was sweating and the worst smell in my life. And I was like, hey, we got some toothpaste you can eat in the bathroom, man. Like, feel free to help yourself.
You're hungry?
It's a delicacy in my country. It was fucked. It was fucked. I'm leaving out steps as well, but like, fuck, that was crazy. Yeah, I did it because I thought it'd be a funny story, but I messaged I really thought I was so close to losing my mind.
So you did have the option of heading home for the operation?
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe like,
yeah, I totally did.
Yeah, maybe you're in pain because like too much pain to be on a flight or something.
No, it's fine.
No. No, I chose this.
Yeah, I chose that because I thought it'd be easier to recover in China.
And the VIP ward sounds nice.
Yeah, I thought it'd be easy to recover because I could afford a lot more there, and I could have hired like a nanny for those few days that Kendra was at work and all that kind of sort of stuff. And those in Australia, I've just been. But I fucking should have come.
You guys are just going to Maxwell Sheffield out in your write a few musicals and Fran Drescher's going to come in and go.
It was fucked, hey. It was fucked. Don't dig that.
Thanks for that.
Literally like a nightmare.
Thank you. He's waiting.
I think I'm going to actually have a nightmare where everything you just said occurs.